I want to speak to you all about designing a university for the future, for exponential times. So I had the opportunity, as Mohammed said, to start 2 universities over the last 30 years. The first is the International Space University, which is headquartered in Strasbourg, France. And 30 years later, a second university called Singularity University, located in Silicon Valley. And over that 30 years, I've learned a lot. And I want to share with you what that is. The first is that as humans, we evolved on the savannas of Africa hundreds of thousands and millions of years ago, when the world back then was local and linear. And our minds think in a local and linear fashion. And if you think about it, the first universities were started 1,000 years ago. But the first modern universities today started 200 years ago, and the basis of the modern university, it's a 4-year program, typically age 18 to 22. Okay, that's good. That's still the way it is today for university, for college. But here's the interesting fact. Back 200 years ago, the average lifespan was 37 years old. So here's the deal. The value proposition is you would go to school. At age 22, you would graduate. You would die at age 37, and your education had to last you for 15 years. And during that 15 years, progress was very slow. Nothing much changed. But today, the world we're living in is global and exponential. Things are not changing century to century, they're changing year to year. And if I were to graph that, it looks like this. This red line is all of us humans. We haven't had a hardware or software upgrade in 50,000 years. It's been a while. The yellow line is the technology that we're building, we're investing in, we're using: computers, sensors, networks, AI, robotics, 3D printing, synthetic biology, right? And if you think about it, the old educational system, the early universities, when the slow change was going on, the old way of doing things were okay. But today, by the time you graduate, what you learned in your freshman year is sometimes out of date. And the idea of starting and having education take place in the first 4 years of your life, and then you're done for the rest of your life, is now an insane idea. It is wrong. So let's investigate this. So the questions I want to talk about in this presentation for our policymakers are the following. What curriculum do you teach when the content is changing so rapidly? Is accreditation still even a valid idea? What happens when our best teachers in the future are not humans? They're artificial intelligences, they're AIs. Do you even maintain a faculty? Will physical universities even exist, or will they all become virtual? And what happens when today's top professions are disrupted by AIs and robots? And we'll speak about that as well. So I have the pleasure to have co-founded a university called Singularity University. It's in the center of Silicon Valley. We're backed by Google and Cisco and Deloitte and Nokia and Genentech. And at this university, we teach graduates and executives about exponential technologies. So what does exponential even mean? So I mentioned we're all linear thinkers. So if I said to you, where are you going to be in 5 steps? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In 5 steps, I'll be there. In 30 steps, I'll be 30 meters away. And all of us are really great linear projectors. We think in a linear fashion. But if I said to you, where are you going to be in 30 exponential steps? And exponential is a simple doubling. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. Unless you have it memorized, very few of us say, oh, in 30 exponential doublings, I'm 1 billion meters away. Put differently, I've gone 26 times around the planet. And so the difference between linear thinking and exponential thinking is extraordinary. It's catastrophic in the wrong circumstances. So what is causing that is the march of computers, the computational power that we're building, right? Here in the UAE, it's the investments done in global foundries, for example. But this is Gordon Moore, who was one of the founders of Intel. In 1958, Gordon Moore creates Intel Corporation, and then 7 years later, he publishes a very famous paper. He says, you know, at Intel, over the last 7 years, we've been noticing something. The number of transistors on the circuits we're building are doubling every 12 to 24 months for the same dollars. And we think it's going to continue. That has become Moore's law. It's continued for 50 years. So let me give you a visualization of what that looks like. This is the first integrated circuit. It's a horizontal and a vertical transistor. In 1971, this is the Intel 4004, the first commercial product Intel put out. It has 2,300 transistors on it, about $1 each. Fast forward 30 plus years, in 2012, this is a graphical processor unit. It has 7.1 billion transistors on it, right? It's a 100 billion-fold improvement, 100 billion times better per dollar. This is what's driving the world to get faster and faster. Let me give you another way to visualize this. I want you to remember this in your minds, right? This is what's going on in the world. This is why the world is speeding up. This is exponential growth. Here's another visualization. Back in 1956, this is a 5 megabyte hard drive for $120,000, right? If you happen to have your cargo airplane, you could move it from city to city. Fast forward, 2005, this is 128 megabytes for $99. Now, we probably noticed that, but did you notice where 9 years later, now it's 128 gigabytes for $99? Right? 1,000-fold more photos or songs in your pocket. It doesn't stop here, it continues, right? So this is what we're seeing. Over the last 110 years, we are seeing faster and faster computers. You can't see World War I or World War II or the recessions or boom times. We're building faster computers, building faster computers, building faster computers, and it's likely to continue. And when it does, we get the following. In 2010, the average $1,000 would buy you a computer with 100 billion calculations per second. More computational power than got us to the moon, right? 2023, 7 years from now $1,000, when you go down to the store to buy your laptop for $1,000, buys you 10 to the 16th cycles per second. That's the rate at which your brain and my brain does calculations, does pattern recognitions. But it doesn't stop there, because 25 years later, now $1,000 buys you the computational power of the entire human race. Now your kid's homework gets really easy. So what's happening is we're using faster and cheaper computers to drive all of these technologies, all these exponential technologies, networks, sensors, robotics, 3D printing, synthetic biology, VR, AR, artificial intelligence. Let me speak about these just a little bit. Because you can be an expert in any one of these fields, but it's the convergence of all of these together that are reinventing our future, not 20 years from now, not 10 years from now, in the next 5 years. So we'll talk about artificial intelligence. This is HAL from 2001: A Space Odyssey. You may think of AI as Siri on your iPhone. You may think of it as Jarvis from Iron Man. This is my preference of artificial intelligence. And just outside this hall, you have the Watson wall, and I'm a huge fan of the team from Watson and Cognate. But let me show you a short video of what Watson did 3 years ago as this artificial intelligence took on the top 2 champions of the game of Jeopardy. The guy on the left who'd won the most money and the guy on the right who'd won the most number of games. I'll show you a short video, then we'll speak about it. So this is a computer playing the game of Jeopardy.
Ken, you're in the first position. Please make a selection.
I've never said this on TV. Chicks dig me for 200, please, Jimmy.
Kathleen Kenyon's excavation of this city, mentioned in Joshua, showed the walls had been repaired 17 times. Watson.
What is Jericho?
Correct.
400, same category.
This mystery author and her archaeologist hubby dug in hopes of finding the lost Syrian city of Urkesh. Watson.
Who is Agatha Christie?
Correct. Watson,
Who is Mary Leakey?
you're right. Watson,
What is Crete?
yes.
Let's finish Chicks Dig Me.
So what was Watson? Watson was a room-sized computer. It was not hooked up to the internet. It had downloaded Wikipedia into its memory banks. It was able to process 1 million books per second. But that was 3 years ago. Today, Watson sits on the cloud. It's on 3 blade servers about the size of 3 pizza boxes. And where is IBM Watson taking this? Into medicine, into education. Imagine anyone with a cell phone being able to call Watson up and ask any question on the planet. What's the best stock I should be investing in? What do you think of this medicine? Where should I go and buy this product? So that's AI. I want you to think about AI's ability to become our best teachers on the planet. Because when they do, the best teachers on the planet will be equal to all, the son of a billionaire, the son of the poorest child on the planet, for free. The same way that Google for Larry Page, the CEO of Alphabet, and Google for a child on a smartphone is identical. It's a demonetization, a democratization, a dematerialization of teachers and schools. This is robotics. Anybody know what this is a photograph of? Tesla plant. Anybody see the carbon overlord watching these robots? Let me help you. So we're going to see robots entering every aspect of our lives. This is one robot, a company called Boston Dynamics that's owned by Google. Google bought 8 robot companies. They're investing very heavily in robotics. Let me just show you one of these.
We're interested in getting this robot out into the world. Out in the world is just a totally different challenge than in the lab.
This is another robot. This is Google's autonomous car. They've driven, at this point, about 2 million miles. The only accidents, it wouldn't have been a human, has hit the car. Let me show you what it looks like to drive inside one of these autonomous cars, not on a normal road, but on a slalom course.
Oh my God. Oh dear Lord.
Oh my God, this is so awesome.
And now robots are entering surgery. In the near future, if you need to have surgery and you see a human walking towards you, you're going to say, oh, no, 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 I do not want that human touching me. I want the robot that has done it perfectly 1 million times. So what happens when the highest level of profession today, surgeons, I went to medical school many years ago, right? But what happens when, in fact, a robotic surgeon is far better, didn't drink too much coffee, didn't have a fight with her husband or wife, that morning, and is able to see in ultraviolet and infrared, it's going to be transformational. But the projections are that 40 to 50% of our jobs today are going to be displaced by AI and robotics in the future. So what do we teach in our schools? Clearly not outdated professions. Let's talk about 3D printing. 3D printing can print in 250 different materials in full color. Here's high-temperature titanium turbine blades. These medical devices, you can 3D print circuit boards today. For the ladies here, you can go online and find a beautiful dress designed in Bangladesh that morning and 3D print it with a handbag and shoes, whatever you like, saying, please, yes, you want that, okay. But we're going to see 3D printing. But what happens when you combine AI and 3D printing? And you can describe what you want, and a computer can design it and 3D print it in your closet. What happens to designers? We're going to change every profession out there. This is a 3D printed car with my colleague Max Bricklin. That was a year ago. This is the 3D printed car today. In addition to that, I know the Museum of the Future is working on this. This is the future of 3D printing houses, where you're 3D printing with concretes and cements. This is out of WinSun in China. The first 3D printed apartment buildings, 10 houses in 24 hours for $5,000 each. Let's look at the future of virtual reality and augmented reality. So this is what a computer image looked like 17 years ago, generated by your computer. This is Lara Croft, a video game character. This is Lara Croft today. right? This is from your computer. And in the last 2 years, over $5 billion has been invested in virtual reality by Facebook, by Sony, by Samsung, by Google and Qualcomm with Magic Leap, by Microsoft. Virtual reality and augmented reality is going to change every aspect of how we teach. Let me show you a short video from Microsoft just to give you a feeling of what this looks like in augmented reality.
What if we could go beyond the screen? Where your digital world is blended with your real world. Now we can. This is the world with holograms. What will they enable us to do? New ways to visualize our work.
I have an idea for the fuel tank.
New ways to share ideas with each other.
How are things going your end?
I just put the images in OneDrive.
Perfect.
More immersive ways to play. New ways to teach and learn.
So put the new trap in the place of the old one.
Now what?
And tighten here and here.
New ways to collaborate and explore the places we've never been.
Look at this formation. Let's take a closer look.
And new ways to create the things we imagine. Because when you change the way you see the world, you can change the world you see.
I mean, I don't know if you can imagine the idea of a classroom where everything comes to life. When you think it, it's there. When you have a question, it comes to you in physical form in video. I mean, how boring would a physical classroom be after you've experienced that? It's like going back a century or 1,000 years ago. But this is where we're going. Tens of billions of dollars will be invested the next couple of years in this area by the largest corporations. This will disrupt education. So another area is programming and genomics. Today, we're able to read genomes 1 million times cheaper than ever before. We're beginning to write genomes, and we're beginning to edit genomes. The programming language of the future isn't C++ or Pascal. It's going to be programming in DNA. So a question is, what do you teach when you can know anything, anytime, anywhere? As we heard earlier, it's the quality of your questions that matter the most. When an AI becomes the perfect user interface, when you can speak to an artificial intelligence, express your desires, and then it can do the design, right? And your intentions become reality, what skills do you need to learn other than how to express yourself, how to be curious? What is the role of the future universities? For me, it's about helping students discover their passions. It's about helping students be brave to take moonshots, to make their dreams come true. I'll close on a few things that are my moonshots that have been sort of what's driving me, impossible things, right? One of them is a company I co-founded to add 30 to 40 healthy years on everyone's life. The ability to extend the healthy human lifespan, to make 100 years old than you 60. We've built the world's largest genome sequencing facility, mixing genome sequencing, machine learning, and all of these technologies together really into the educational and health facilities of the future. Another company that mixes 3D printing and AI and sensors and networks is a company called Planetary Resources. Our mission is to go out to the asteroids. You heard Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about the first trillionaires we made in space. That's our mission, to go out and actually mine those asteroids. Here's the spacecraft that we're building. In low Earth orbit, we can measure global croplands and oil. And in space, we're going after fuels and platinum group metals. Again, the ability, the audacity we have to dream right now because of these technologies, we need to unshackle our children of the future. So I'll close on this. What do our future universities look like? First, they're personalized. every single child is going to have an education personalized only to them. The artificial intelligence will know their language skills, their family background, what they ate for breakfast, what they're struggling with, if they've got any deficiencies, what they are, what that color the child likes, what movie stars the child likes, what sports that child likes, and every example will be personalized for that child to make them the most excited about learning that subject. That's what you get with AI personalizing to an individual. The second is it'll be free. The best education in the world for every child will effectively be demonetized. It'll be like Google or the Khan Academy. Again, if you went back 30 years ago and said, listen, what would it cost you to be able to look up any single fact and know anything you want in the world in high resolution detail? Oh, I'd have to hire the top consulting firms in the world to know anything. No, it's democratized and demonetized on Google. That same thing will happen to education. When something doesn't work well and it's only for the richest people, that's the original cell phones. But now when cell phones are amazing, they cost $50 and they're available for 1 billion of them in Africa. The same thing is going to happen in education. So it'll be personalized, it'll be free. The second, we heard this earlier, will be on demand. You will learn what you need to learn when it's relevant to you. And education doesn't happen for 4 years, age 18 to 22. It happens throughout your entire lifetime. You learn what you need, when you need it, before you go into a meeting, when you're excited about it the most. It's on demand, anytime, anywhere. Fourth, it is fully virtualized. This idea of going to a classroom, classrooms will be important for socialization, to meet other students, to learn sports, to do things, but learning will be done in the most incredible way virtually using this technology. And then finally, it's about inspiring. It's about giving a child a desire to dream, to say, I can do anything in the world. I can make my grandest dreams come true. And then believing it, and then using that to inspire them to learn. So for me, this is the future of university and the future of K through 12. It blurs because it's education over the continuum of your lifespan, from birth to 200-300 years old, whatever we incur it.